In transformation, when 2% of a population begin to think in more liberated and spiritually open ways, a new level of consciousness will awaken, bringing about a new reality for the total population. Join me, Jael McLean, confidence coach, business owner, musician, health and fitness enthusiast, transformational instigator, and your host of the 2% podcast in creating a new reality of spiritual awareness, confidence, and authenticity. Hey, 2%ers, this is Jael. Last week, you saw my interview with Laurie Schible. That was part 1. And this week, I hope you enjoy part 2 with her. And if you do, please comment at the end. Laurie, you're about to walk us through your process.
Oh, yeah. All right. Are you ready for this?
I think so.
Okay.
I think I'm ready.
So I want to break this down and make it really, really easy for you guys. It's a very simple process that within it is like, there's so much depth to it. I get to teach you a ton of things. And I promise you, if you just use this simple process, it will literally change your life. And so I have to share, this is hysterical. So like, I was just writing down like, okay, what are the steps that I take? Like, how do I do this? Like, how have I evolved over the last year, like doing this for myself? So I jotted down this process and there were 6 steps. And I recognized that I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's the acronym for this. This is so cool. Yeah, the acronym is A.A.A.S.S.S.
All right.
So this should be easy to remember.
We're going to ask our way to
We're going to ask our way to success, y'all. We're going to ask.
I love this. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
I've already asked myself through most of my life already, so I can do this in a transformational way.
Are you ready? We're going to get the ass in here. It's going to get all assy. Okay. And this is hysterical. So I'm like writing this down, and this was right after. So I'm in a group mastermind, and one of the girls in the mastermind, I was just listening to the replay, and she had just said, like, we're so harsh on ourselves. We're always judging ourselves. She's like, we're just a bunch of assholes to ourselves. So I'm dying laughing as I'm looking at this ASS acronym, and I'm like, oh, okay. So this is now the new process and how to stop being an asshole to yourself. Got this? So
yes.
So you should remember this, right?
I'm ready.
And you can let everybody know you learned today how to stop being an asshole to yourself.
With
Are
the
you
ASS
ready?
process.
With the ASS process.
All right.
Is your ass ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
My ass is ready.
All right, here we go. So first step, the first step always and always is awareness. So we have to actually become aware of what the fun words are that are going through your head, Jael.
Which are usually, nobody's going to listen to you. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough.
Oh, yeah. What am I doing? Is this good? Am I good enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. So many flavors of all the worthy conversation things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why are we so mean to ourselves? Right? We're human, right? And our brain is actually hardwired for survival. And that means of survival, why we do that? Because it wants to keep us doing the exact same thing we've always done. It wants to repeat all of the same thoughts that you had yesterday and the day before and the day before that.
Because why? Because it kept us safe?
That kept us alive. Yesterday it worked. We didn't die. So let's just repeat that again because that's a safe path.
Yeah.
Right? The brain is hardwired for survival. And it's like it has not even begun to catch up to modern times. Right? So awareness of what you're saying, knowing, again, just words, we're making it up. Yeah. Right? And here's a little thing too. Awareness is 90% of the battle. 90%.
Yeah.
Right? Just simply having awareness of what you're saying and what's going on and becoming aware of like, that wasn't Jael, that was actually me doing that to me is 90% of the battle. If you just become more aware of your thoughts and conscious to them. And some people too, like you might become aware of what you're thinking, the words in your head. You might also just become aware of how you're feeling. All I know is I'm angry and pissed off right now. So what caused that? What thoughts caused these feelings?
Yeah.
It can go both ways.
I just went through this over the weekend. I had a conversation and I walked away not feeling good. I felt grungy after this conversation.
Ooh, I love those grungy conversations.
And where I normally would sweep that under the rug.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'm dismissive of my own feelings. And that, you know, this leads into like a boundaries conversation
we're
where I sweep stuff under
so
the
good
rug.
at sweeping it under.
Yeah.
Right?
And then I don't create the healthy boundaries that I should have for myself. And I almost did what I have, you know, done what I always do.
Yeah.
And I almost swept that emotion under the rug. And I went back to it to look at, well, wait a minute. I walked away feeling a certain way.
Yes.
And now I'm going to look at it and really deep dive and unpack.
AKA,
why do I feel gross after
I was
this?
in my head and I'm just going to justify, oh, well, surely there was a reason for that. Instead of actually listening to your body's wisdom.
Yep.
Right? The body is the emotion, right? The body feeds the emotion. It's where our emotions are housed. The body is wise. The body will never lie to you. It will never tell you wrong. So if you're in the situation and you're like, this energy didn't feel right, something felt off, it felt.
Yeah.
That's your body speaking to you, but your brain is going to go,
it's not that bad.
We will rationalize our way out of anything.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So congratulations to you for listening to the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's awareness. In that moment, you became aware of how something made you feel, right? Which were the thoughts you were having about the situation that made you feel a certain way, right? So there were clearly some thoughts going through your brain that were like, something's off here. This isn't right. I don't feel okay. Whatever it was, right? That created those feelings. That's awareness. It's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the first step of your A.A.S.S.
Right.
process. So the second step is to acknowledge. We get to actually acknowledge what is true for us. Oh, something doesn't feel right. Okay, something's not right here. Instead of, oh, let me just, it's okay, we're good, and right? Oh, let me just, what's actually true, right? We get to acknowledge what's actually true here. What is true? Oh, I'm feeling pain. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling off. Something is amiss here. Acknowledge what is true. And you can ask yourself, like, okay, well, what is actually true? And here's the beauty. When we are wholly and completely truthful to ourselves, and it can just be to ourselves, we don't have to, we get to choose if we share that with anybody. But when you are truthful with yourselves, it will never steer you wrong. Your truth will always be your guide, right? And your body is guiding you. Your truth was something didn't feel right about this interaction. That was your body speaking so loud to you.
Yeah.
That's your truth. And when you allowed yourself to acknowledge it, right, you were actually able to address it instead of just sweep it under the rug. Right? You were able to actually acknowledge, like, oh, and then it brings you to choice.
Yes.
Right?
And then in that moment, I got to create my boundary for, you know, when I'm going to decide moving forward.
Totally. And here's the key with acknowledgement. And this is the big key, y'all. There is no judgment. Just simply be an observation. Simple observation of what is true. Even with curiosity, well, isn't this interesting? How fascinating that I'm feeling this way. No judgment. No judgment for yourself. No judgment for anybody else, the situation.
No judgment for the emotion itself.
Or the emotion itself, right? Yes. So just simply be in observation. Just observe it. And this is challenging because we immediately want to judge or like come up with a reason why or justify, right? Just simply acknowledge what is true and be in simple, curious observation, right? So the third step of this is to allow. This is a tricky one. To actually allow yourself to feel what you're feeling can feel like the most counterintuitive thing that we do, right? So if you're feeling something especially really uncomfortable, right? The last thing you want to do is be like, oh, I feel this despair, this anger. Let me just sit in this for a minute because this feels great, right? Again, we've been deeply conditioned to just ignore all the yuck, right? Ignore the crazy, right? And just totally bypass it and go back to what we've been told is good, right? The whole positivity show. Just be positive, right? No. All emotions are valid.
Yeah.
They are gifts. They are teachers. That feeling of something's off here, right? The hesitation that was a gift for you, right? That this isn't right.
Yeah. We'll be right back after these messages.
Guitar Wishes, where dreams with strings come true. The area's largest guitar shop and NAMM Top 100 winner, Guitar Wishes of Lincolnton. We carry your favorite Gibson, Fender, Martin, Taylor, and Epiphone instruments. We're an authorized Music Man, Sterling Vintage, and Yamaha dealer.
So many emotions that I labeled as weak or bad, wrong.
Oh, right.
Even compassion.
Oh,
even compassion. I had it in my head. Compassion is me being weak.
Yes.
Mercy is being weak.
Yeah. And here's the thing:
sad,
compassion. So many people have aligned compassion to weakness, right? It's actually what the issue is with leadership today in companies, corporations, right? Oh, well, if I show any level of compassion or empathy, I'm going to be weak. Right. And we know, like, thank you, Brene Brown, right, for like bringing this to our attention and making it mainstream, that the moment you actually are compassionate or vulnerable, it is a massive strength.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the moment you do that, you give the other person permission to do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And
it's powerful.
It's me stepping into my power.
100%. Can you say that again?
I step into my power when I'm vulnerable and compassionate.
Yes, every time. Because the moment that you actually feel what you feel and you allow the compassion in and you let that, you're leading, you're allowing, you're standing in your power. You're coming from a place of choice and decision. That is you standing in your power, my friend.
Yeah. And
there's nothing weak about that.
The ripple effect. Like you said, for other people to then go, I get to step into my power. I get to be compassionate. I get to be loving.
Yeah, 100%. Right? So I'm just going to give you this gift of the allowance. Like when you're really, really resisting feeling the yuck or like sitting in your crazy, right? It feels so counterintuitive. Even if you're resisting it, right? Because there's layers to this. Like we might resist feeling it. Allow the resistance. Oh, resistance is showing up. Isn't that fascinating? Get curious, right?
Yeah.
Playful, get entertained.
Why do I want to run away from being sad?
Yes.
And ignore it and shove it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Layers. And you might be like, oh, okay, let me allow this. Oh, well, now I'm resisting the resistance. Oh, okay, let me allow that in. Allow the layers. Allowing is the most counterintuitive feeling because we've been so deeply taught, right? Not to listen to our crazy and pay attention to it or like feel the yuck or feel certain feelings. It's all okay. Doesn't mean anything unless you make it mean something about yourself, right? Yeah. Going back to a thought you're having about it. Yeah. We are making machines. Let me tell you, right? So in and of itself, compassion, anger, despair, joy, it's just an emotion. It doesn't actually have a meaning until we assign it one.
Yeah.
Right? And we're complex, amazing human beings with these very complex brains that have assigned meaning to a full array of emotions. And really and here's the other just quick piece to this is there's really only two core emotions we ever feel. And that's love and fear. Everything else is a stem from one of those two.
Wow. Yeah.
And we've created hundreds of emotions. We've created language for it because it's a really, really powerful tool for communication and effective, right? The more you can clearly articulate how you're feeling, actually, the better that you can connect. Imagine that, right? And communicate. Yeah. Okay. So those are your 3 A's. Those are the first part of the ass process to stop being an asshole to yourself. So the fourth step and the first S, once you have created the awareness this is happening, and then you acknowledge and allow what is true. You acknowledge what is true. Okay, I got this. You allow it. Now we can go into a process of, okay, I'm allowing the yucky feeling. Now we can go through a process of self-regulation. Self-regulation is literally nothing more than taking your body out of a stress state and bringing it back into a relaxed state. Our systems are always either in a calm state or a stress state. Stress state meaning like fight, flight, freeze, fawn, appease, right? Calm state, we're calm, we're peaceful. So all we're doing with the self-regulation is bringing our system back down into a relaxed state. And the reason we do that is when we're in a fight, flight, freeze, our brain goes offline. We lose our freaking minds, right?
Yeah.
So as we relax and bring it back down, now the blood starts flowing back up and out, and our brain turns on again so we can think clearly.
Yeah, I literally like leave reality.
Literally. Like we lose our
Yeah.
freaking minds.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling that and experiencing that, right, it could be just a feeling, right? Like that's where we need some self-regulation. So that can look like running, doing jumping jacks, exercising, crying, screaming, like holding yourself in a corner, right? Whatever you innately feel like you need to release it and to let it through you.
I loved last episode with Janine Freever.
Mm-hmm.
She took us through a breathing self-regulation technique
Is
that
beautiful.
really worked for me. Yeah.
Yes. And so the thing with emotions, if you're in a very activated state, like something like anger, frustration, you're kind of a high-end state, you need physical movement. And it can be literally just like shake, 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 shake it out, do a bunch of jumping jacks, like physically get it out until you kind of feel that sense like the end of a workout where you're like,
Yeah.
Then take the breathing exercise.
Okay.
Just simply take several deep breaths in and exhale out. And that then will bring your system back down into a calm state, right? So that is self-regulation. The next step of that is to soothe. So once we get back into a calm state, like soothing is literally like nothing more than you can literally just rub like hands to arms, to your legs, to your face. There is an enactment that happens in our nervous system when we actually put our fingers to our skin, when there is skin to skin touch that is a natural soother, right? Like when, our babies are crying, what do? We soothe them, right? There is systematically in our nervous system, this actually like calms our nervous system even further. It soothes us, right? So you can take that step. You can go through a soothing process, right? So once you have become aware, acknowledge what is true for you, allowed space for it, and then self-regulated, release whatever is going. Because by the way, emotions are fleeting. Did you know that emotions really don't ever last more than 90 seconds? And I know some of you are going, oh, and I've been like mad for days or weeks. No. You just keep repeating the cycle over and over, and you feel like you've been in that state for a lifetime. But really, it's just you reliving the experience, cycling, spinning in it over and over. When you actually, and that's why this whole allowance feels so counterintuitive, when you actually just simply allow yourself to release it and let it go, it leaves your system. It's amazing how that works, right? Wow. So once we go to the self-regulation and soothe, the final step is to shift. This brings us to choice. Okay, so this is what I got. So now what? How do I want to feel? What do I want to think?
Yeah.
It brings us to choice, which brings us to perspective, right? And that is what can change our life.
Yeah.
We're no longer caught up. We're not just automatically living in the
like
state we're
circumstances and the people are not running me.
Totally.
Or my emotions are no longer running me.
Yes. Yeah. So we get out of the state, and now we're at choice. Now we're standing in our power.
Yeah.
That's it. So that, my folks, is the 6-step ASS process on how not to be an asshole to yourself.
I love it. Laurie, thank you so much for being on today. This has been incredible.
Absolutely. So fun.
I know that you serve an amazing community of women,
Yes.
entrepreneurs, moms, therapists, and they get to reclaim their power and who they are.
Absolutely.
And so if you want to find Laurie, you can find Laurie on Instagram, on Facebook under Laurie Schible.
Laurie Schible Coaching. Yep.
And then laurieschible.coaching.com. You can find her.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope you loved this episode as much as we did. And like, subscribe, share.
And connect with me on social media. I love to actually connect with human beings and have real conversations. So I would love to connect with you all.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next episode of the 2% Podcast.